What's up, everybody? This is 94 Feet. I'm your host, Jalen Simons. This is Cody and Jacob. What's up, guys?
What's going on, guys?
Man, so as we were starting the podcast, we got some breaking news. Chris Paul is out due to COVID reasons. What you guys feel about that? How does that affect the Suns, man?
Bro, that kills them, Like last year in the bubble, they went 8-0, didn't end up making the playoffs, and you knew they're gonna come out swinging this year, and that's exactly what they did. I'm calling out Adam Silver. Like, he needs to go in his commission bag, and he needs to fix whatever protocols they have going on, because we all know, like, no one's really at real danger right now. Like, go into his commission bag, maybe change some dates around if he needs to. Do his thing to make it so Chris Paul can play in game one, and we give the fans and he gives the fans what they want to see.
You gotta pull some strings, huh? No, I feel that, bro. I think somebody's trying to sabotage him. This is kind of really random. I'm sure Chris Paul kind of took this break and kind of just went back home and just chilled out, like when we have time to catch COVID. But it says out indefinitely. I hope it's by the time that the next series starts, the Western Conference Finals starts, he's kind of back in action. Because I feel like without him, they kind of will lose to either one, Clippers or Jazz. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, it was definitely unexpected news. And, we got to hope that Clippers Jazz goes to 7 so we can, push the date of the Western Conference Finals. But, we also just found out that Kawhi is out for Game 5. So who knows? The Jazz might just win the next 2 games and the series unless Paul George goes crazy. But I just hope it's not. I just hope it's like BS. And if you got tested positive for COVID, I hope it's a false positive. Because last time Chris Paul was in the Western Conference Finals, and the only time he hurt his hamstring when he was on the Rockets, and
small ball Rockets.
If he was healthy, who knows? If he was healthy, though, they were up 3-2 against the Warriors. Harden and Chris Paul probably could have had a ring. Who knows?
I think this year has been a year of injuries, bro. Injuries, so many injuries. And I think it's due to the short off season. You know what I mean?
Short off season, shortened season. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also the NBA All Teams came out. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, it was interesting. Overall, I think they got it pretty right. First team, you could say interchangeable with Luka and Dame, but Luka definitely deserved that first spot. People might say Embiid should be on the first team. Yeah. If you consider him a forward, then I guess he could be there over Kawhi, but he's a center. He plays center. Jokic was MVP, so obviously I think Embiid was well deserved in his second team.
He should for sure be in there though.
Yeah, he's definitely
runner up for MVP.
Team value. He's definitely a first team player, and also players I think that could have made it. First, Tatum. I know the Celtics didn't have a great season, but he played better than the likes of Jimmy Butler in my eyes, or hot take maybe even Trae Young. He led the Hawks to the 5th seed, and now he's balling in the playoffs. I wouldn't have been mad if he made the third team. So
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little surprised Randall's in there as a second team.
Relax.
Saying that he was a top 10 player this year, he did ball out. Not gonna lie, he did ball out. But you mentioned Tatum, I think Tatum, after going off, then I think also a lot of this went into account of who played. I remember Tatum was out with COVID for a long time in the beginning of the season. I think that affected it. Same thing with Jimmy Butler. Kyrie was injured for a little bit, and I think those guys, had they played more, same with Embiid, had they played more, they would have been in a higher team.
Yeah. It's a crazy thing. I think that if Team 1 and Team 2 played pickup basketball, I got Team 2 winning. I think they would play with so much more grit than Team 1.
They're a gritty team, yeah.
Yeah, they're a gritty team. I think they would win that pickup.
But Giannis and Curry together?
That's crazy. But you also got Dame Lillard and Joel Embiid.
Chris Paul and LeBron.
Chris Paul and LeBron, exactly.
It's already chemistry right there. Yeah, I like the All-NBA second team.
Exactly. So let's get into these topics, man. So first topic up is Clippers versus Jazz. So now that Kawhi is out, it kind of switches up things for this series. How does that affect the series, and who do you think is going to come out now?
So that literally changes everything for the series. I thought Clippers were on a roll. Kawhi and PG started getting going. So they started both proving why they were the favorites last year. everyone had them winning it all like easily, and they're proving it why they are that team. And now with Kawhi out, I just don't see how they win Game 5. I don't see Paul George putting the team on his back. So then they would eventually go down 3-2, and then I don't see how they can come back from that. Given Kawhi might not even be fully healthy coming back for Game 6.
Yeah, I think without Kawhi, maybe this Clippers team is like borderline playoffs, but like this is not a competent team without Kawhi. And like I don't know, maybe Conley will be back tonight. If he, with or without Conley, even like this Jazz team is just very deep. And I think unless Paul George goes off for like 50 points or something like that,
No.
yeah, I think the Clippers are in some deep trouble once again in the semifinals, just like last year, which is unfortunate. NBA has been getting a lot of injuries, as Jalen said. So hopefully it's just something minor, because Kawhi even said himself, like after the game, I'm good. So I don't think it's anything that serious. Hopefully he's just back for Game 6, and maybe he could force it to 7. And then if that happens, hopefully we can see Chris Paul in the Western Conference Finals also.
We better see him.
Yeah.
I think it does switches up things, but I think you still have a chance to win. I think it's on Paul George, but what you have to realize, that Clippers team, they have a lot of pieces. They have a lot of pieces. So if those pieces come to play, I think it can switch up things. Like Marcus
Next
Morris,
man up mentality, yeah.
Marcus Morris, he's having a really good playoffs. He's really doing his thing. Luke Kennard came out of nowhere off the bench. So I think with the team that they have, I think they have the pieces to stop the Jazz defensively. Offensively, Paul George definitely has to take on that role of, it's go time. You know what I mean? My second, the other best players on the team is hurt, so we got to step up.
Yeah.
So realistically, Paul George has to drop 35 plus tonight, with either Reggie Jackson or Marcus Morris adding 20 to that.
I was gonna say I expect
I don't see that happening.
Reggie Jackson. I think Reggie Jackson's gonna have a big game tonight.
Yeah.
I do too.
That's a good segue into this next topic. And speaking of big games, KD had a huge game last night, bro. 49, 10, and 17.
Barbecue chicken.
I honestly feel like that solidified his legacy. And last night, that game, his legacy was on the line. What do you guys feel about that?
So we were actually talking before the game, trying to think of different topics, and we kind of disrespected KD's name. We were talking about how his legacy could be on the line and how the Nets are fake news, and I think we weren't the only ones thinking about that. Like everyone was thinking, okay, the Nets might honestly lose this series.
Yeah.
And KD came and put the team on his back, dropped 49.
Crazy.
And now we're all thinking okay, this team's gonna win it all now.
I think the difference is that honestly, last night we saw a different side of KD that we usually don't see. We know he's a scorer, you know what I mean? Yeah. But last night he was really being a playmaker, and we rarely see that for KD. Yeah. So, man.
If you were to tell me that someone in the NBA playoffs dropped a 50-point triple-double, I'd say, okay, maybe Harden or definitely a player that is not KD. When I saw KD have that stat line, I was like, damn, I didn't know he was capable of that. And it was really impressive. Also, the Bucks were pretty much in control for the majority of the game, and see Kevin Durant come out in that fourth quarter, hitting crazy shot after crazy shot, putting the team on his back. I think that's huge for him in the Nets. Also, Harden didn't have a good game at all. 1 for 10 shooting. He looked rusty and he looked limited due to his injury, but he did play 45 minutes, I'm pretty sure. So hopefully next game he can come out and be more effective. But the fact that Kevin Durant didn't sit a single second, that's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And Kevin Durant's that guy. Don't doubt him. We never seen him put a team on his back like this, because he always has superstars. But he's capable of it. Right now, he's the best player in the world. So,
is it him or Chris Paul right now?
Yeah, that's a
I don't know. Chris Paul's up there, but let me tell you something else. PJ Tucker's he's a gritty defender, and I think the height advantage is what gave KD that big night. Even though PJ Tucker hasn't played good defense, as Giannis said himself last night, he should take on the challenge of guarding Kevin Durant.
He should.
You're 2-time defensive player of the year for what? If you're the best defender on your team and you're making all defensive first team, you need to take on the challenge of guarding the best offensive player on the opposing team, and you have to lock him down. And hopefully Mike Budenholzer opens the door for him and allows him to do that. And that would be an interesting battle for Game 6.
It's not about Mike allowing him to do that. I remember Giannis saying in the past, like, I'm going to do whatever coach says. Like, whoever coach tells me to guard, I'm going to guard. Mm-hmm. But Giannis should go out. I think Kawhi does this too. He did it with Luka last series.
Yeah.
I'm going to be on Luka all game. I'm going to be on Luka all game, no matter what. We're not switching.
I don't think, if you watch the game, I think he was kind of running from KD. He didn't want to get barbecued like that, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
PJ Tucker, that's his personality. He's going to go check the best player. Yeah, and I kind of like
that's
PJ
why he's
Tucker
in the game.
On him. I like PJ Tucker on him more than Giannis because PJ Tucker, with KD, you kind of have to be physical because he's so scrawny. You know what I mean? If you give him a little bit of space, he's going to cook him. Like Giannis, he's long, right? But he can't stop KD on a shot, on a drive. You just can't stop KD. So he knew he was going to get barbecued, bro. He knew he was going to get barbecued. I understand he's one of the best defensive players in the league, but there's no one in the league that can stop Kevin Durant. Yeah. And PJ Tucker adds that strength to him. And I see what you're saying about the size advantage, but honestly, I think anybody would have got that 50 piece.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, PJ Tucker always accepts that challenge, the role of guarding the best player. You know, when he was on the Raptors, he had to deal with LeBron a bunch. So, you know, he has that experience. But I want to see what Giannis can do next game. So we'll see who takes that challenge of guarding him. But as you said, despite whoever guards this guy, he's going to go crazy. It's Kevin Durant.
So before we were kind of questioning if the Nets would win the series. You guys still have any questions in your head about that?
No. I said they were feeling they were going to feel the pressure, which they fully did. Right. But after what I saw last night from Kevin Durant, they don't stand the chance. No, not at all.
I don't know. There's just like too many factors for these Bucks. You know, like Giannis missing his free throws, and these are like vital free throws that he has to knock down. If you're a superstar in this league and you have to be able to close out games with free throws, and Giannis hasn't been able to do that yet, I think Game 6 is going to be a dogfight. Like the Bucks are going to come out to play, and may the best team win. Harden didn't have a good game, and they still pulled out the win. So if Harden comes out and has a Harden-esque game, and Kevin Durant does the same, I don't see this Nets team losing. But it's definitely going to be a dogfight.
I don't think Harden was 100% last night.
No, he was very limited. His range of motion was limited.
I think it might be a move for him to sit out Game 6. I see the Bucks coming out strong, as you said. Bucks are going to come out swinging. Game 6, they're going to be home.
Yeah,
I see them taking that game. Let Harden rest 3-4 days and come back like very healthy, very energized for Game 7. Yeah, so because he played 46 minutes on a hurt hamstring.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's definitely like not good right now.
No, he needs icing. So let's move on. A couple of days ago, the Suns and Nuggets had their elimination game, and during that game, Jokic got called for a flagrant 2. I don't know if you guys saw that clip, but I wanted to hear what you guys thought about that call during the elimination game of MVP getting thrown out.
So obviously, in an elimination game, whenever you think of like the circumstances, like end of the third quarter, it's a fairly close game, and Jokic obviously makes a dumb move by, I don't know, or just winding up in a frustration move. Like it wasn't a basketball move. And the announcers were saying like flagrant. It should be a flagrant 1. I totally understood why the refs called it a flagrant 2. Like any other time in the regular season, they would have called that a flagrant 2. But given the circumstances, they're down 3-0 in an elimination game. Like you can't just toss them out like that. I don't think that was right for the refs, and it wasn't right for the fans either to see that. They didn't want to see that. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I know there were definitely a lot of factors involved. And by the way, if you guys saw that video, it was really funny. Like Jokic's brothers were ready to get on that court they had their hands ready. Booker does not want to play with those guys. Anyways,
they didn't want no smoke.
Yeah, so there was a lot of factors that could come into play. He's the MVP elimination game. But, the refs, they have a job to do. And if they think that a play is a flagrant 2, if it's LeBron James, if it's Cameron Payne, if it's freaking Brian Scalabrine, it doesn't matter. If they think it's a flagrant 2 play, then they're tossing him out of the game. They gotta keep it professional. Although it may not have been a clear cut flagrant 2, that could have came off as a flagrant 1. The ref's decision was valid, and it wouldn't have made a difference anyways, considering the Nuggets were bound for a sweep. So
I only agree with one thing you said. I don't think it would have made a difference. I think they were going to get swept regardless.
Yeah.
I think that was a soft ass call. That was a soft call. Because if you look at it, right? It is a very soft league, obviously, right? So I think he got that flagrant 2 off of a wind up, right? Off of the wind up. The wind up looked very violent. But if you really look at the play, he didn't really hit Cameron Payne like that. Cameron Payne, he should get an Oscar for how he sold that one. You know what I mean? So if you look at it, bro, he hit all ball. He kind of sideswiped Cameron Payne a little bit, but
He caught him.
He did a little bit, bro. He's like brushed his arm, like a little, you know what I mean? It's like a little brush, you know what I mean? If you really look at it, and he hit all ball, you know what I mean? So I think it should have been a flagrant 1. He definitely should have got teed up for that one. But getting thrown out of the game, I feel like that's excessive. And I just think that this league is just too soft, bro. It's too soft. You can't really play physical basketball no more, bro.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because there's just so much talent, and I feel like they like being physical, or they're limited. But it is what it is. You got to get used to it. But one thing about the Nuggets, people might be saying panic mode. You just got swept in the second round. I think the Nuggets don't have anything to worry about, obviously, because of Jamal Murray. So I think the Nuggets team just got to stick to this core, and as long as Michael Porter keeps developing, I think that Nuggets team could be scary and definitely going to be title contenders for the next couple of years for sure.
Right. So the Suns moved on to the Western Conference Finals. Who do you think they have a best chance? Their best opponent is to win, Clippers or Jazz?
All right. Well, considering if obviously Kawhi is healthy, hopefully. I definitely would say that the Jazz are probably still the favorite. I mean, the best matchup for the Suns. I think the Jazz and the Suns would just be such an entertaining series, and I think since that they have that gritty defense, and they just have they're also a very similar team to the Suns. They have a facilitator in Conley and Chris Paul. You have that bucket getter shooting guard with Booker and Mitchell. You got those the classic centers and Gobert and Aiden, very, very similar built teams. And I think they would just give a tougher time to the Suns team because obviously they're how electric their defense is and how they come up on the offensive end of the floor too.
I completely agree. The Jazz would give the Suns the harder time than the Clippers. I think the Clippers are a lot more inconsistent, and sometimes they get into struggles, whether it's on offense or defense. That might have to do with their coaching or just with their stars not performing at times.
Yeah.
But on the other side, the Jazz, they, as you said, they do match up pretty identical to each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's just going to be such an entertaining series, seeing first seed and second seed go at it, and just seeing who the actual best team is in the West.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys are discrediting Paul George. And I think, I understand Kawhi's not playing this next game, but this is one game. You know what I mean? It's a long playoffs. And I think he should sit out this game if he's feeling injured. You know what I mean? During the season, he was on load management, so he's not really used to playing all of these back-to-backs, right? So what I'm going to say to that is I think no one on the Suns can guard Paul George. Who's going to guard Paul George?
They have Royce O'Neal, one of the best swing defenders.
No, on the Suns.
On the Suns, my bad. So Bridges. They got
Bridges or Crowder.
Bridges would probably, yeah.
I think they're going to put Crowder on Kawhi.
Yeah,
Kawhi's going to handle him. You know what I mean? He's going to handle him. Paul George is going to get a bucket on Bridges.
Yeah, I mean, Bridges took the challenge regarding LeBron in the first round. He did do a decent job, but LeBron still got his shots, stuff like that. I think Paul George will be comfortable.
He's going to
who's guarding him.
Nah, Bridges is a really, really good defender. He's long.
He is long.
He's very gritty. Also, he'll get up in you. Paul George obviously gonna get his buckets, but Paul George is very inconsistent. One game he can ball out, and another game he'll go 4 for 15, and he'll put up 20. He'll still put up 20 points, but
So
I'm not
you
gonna
don't
count
want
him out.
He's not 4 for 15 is not helping you really
So,
win.
yeah, Cody. It sounds like you're counting him out, bro. You can't count
No,
out
I love
PG.
Paul. I love Paul George. No, don't get me wrong. I love him, but like,
I
don't
think
know.
Paul George, after especially hearing these news, I think he's locked in. He's due for a big game. I don't expect Paul George to slack anymore. He picked it up for game 5. For game 4. And he has to come out with a sense of urgency and just knock down his shots. And that's what he's been doing. And I hope that continues, because he's been proving like despite how good he plays, he'll still get all the slander, way off P, pandemic P, whatever you want to call him.
George Paul.
I think after these playoffs, he's gonna put that title to rest, and he's already been doing that, even with the couple bad games he's had.
Tonight is a must-win for the Clippers, and Paul George. If Paul George doesn't step up, he's gonna get shit from everyone, and his game will be ruined for a long time. He needs to step up, drop 35 plus with the win.
And I expect him to. He definitely should.
Yeah, I think so too. He's in the same predicament KD was in last night.
Exactly.
So that ended up. So let's see what Paul George does tonight, and
I
think that's going to set the tone for the next series as well. So we're going to see about that one. So last topic. So we talked about Western Conference Finals. Who do you guys think is going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals?
So I think the Sixers for sure. That series is tied 2-2 right now.
Yeah, that series is ass. I don't enjoy watching that series. It's terrible. All you see is Embiid on the floor all the fucking time. It's just
Trae always getting fouled.
Those teams are not compatible whenever they're playing against each other.
No, bro. No.
No one wants to see
the only person I like watching on that team is Bogey, bro. Bogey, he's a finesse player. He's tough. But honestly, that
Seth
series
Curry
is
too.
ass.
Seth Curry's fun to watch too.
He is fun to watch, but that series is ass. I think Philly got him. I think it's over for the Hawks.
So Philly versus Nets.
Yeah, I think Philly would get there. I wouldn't be surprised if the Hawks find a way to get into the Eastern Conference Finals. The Hawks in the first round, they had a very an insanely good defensive game plan for Julius Randle. Like, no one expected them to lock him down the way they did, especially after Randle has been torching the Hawks in the regular season games this year. They came out with that game plan and they locked him down. For most of the series, they haven't really found an answer for Embiid yet. He dropped 40 and stuff like that. But like
he did go 4 for 20.
That's what I'm saying. So last game he went 0 for 12, and I think what the Hawks are doing right now is they figured out ways to limit Joel Embiid in the second half, and I think if they continue to do that, maybe his meniscus injury might be a factor in a way. Maybe he's not 100%. So if they figure out a way to slow Embiid down, I'm sorry, but like I don't think the Sixers could get the win. But like that's an if. Obviously, it's a big if, because Embiid is obviously one of the best players in the league, and I just think even if the Sixers do go to the next round, it sucks to say, but Ben Simmons is just going to hold that team back. If he's your second best player and he's sitting for the last play of the game because you're scared he's going to get fouled and miss free throws, that's a liability. I know he offers a lot to that team, and he's a great playmaker. He's a great defender, and he offers a lot to that team. But when you're limited in your offense and your offensive abilities, then I just don't think you're going to go as far as teams like the Nets or the Suns or any other team like that. So
bringing up Simmons reminds me of back whenever the Harden talks were happening, whenever he was still on the Rockets, and then Sixers were saying how they're not giving up Ben Simmons for Harden.
Yeah.
Looking back at that, if they did that, Ben Simmons and maybe like a first for Harden or whatever the trade was, Sixers would be by far the best team right now. And
a lot of teams fucked up with that. The Heat, they should have just sent Tyler Hero's ass to the Rockets and taken Harden also. The Nets really finessed that. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah. But I also understand why the Heat didn't send Tyler Hero. That's their future. I understand it.
Yeah, I guess.
I understand.
The bubble really made a name for him. I do expect it to play back at that level eventually, definitely. He does have a lot of potential.
But going back to Philly, I think that I agree with you that Ben Simmons is holding this team up, but you also got to realize that, one, I don't think anyone can stop Embiid. I don't even see it if in my eyes. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
And besides, let's take Joel Embiid out, right? You still have Tobias Harris, Korkmaz. You have Seth Curry.
Mhm.
So I mean, like they have offensive weapons that
Yeah, definitely.
really need to step up. If and I don't even like saying this because I just don't like saying untrue shit, bro. And I just don't ever see it being shut down, bro. Like, is Clint Capella really going to shut him down?
No.
Like, come on, bro. Like, fucking Clint Capella. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to see how they match up with Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Brooklyn had no answer. No answer for him. So I think that would be a good series.
And
Yeah,
that
that
second
half. That second half was probably a fluke for Embiid. He'll come in with more sense of urgency for tonight. For sure.
And if you really observe Embiid's style of play, bro, like sometimes he plays like he just don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? If he knows his team's gonna win, he just plays like he just don't care. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I mean that's kind of his personality, and that's not always a good thing. Cody, you brought up a good point the other day, but yesterday when we were talking, you said that the Brooklyn Nets kind of remind you of the Clippers last season, and I agree with you on that one. I think there are some parallels in it. The only difference is that the Nets kind of suffering because of injuries, right? Because of injuries, the Clippers last year they just couldn't get it together, and they were the favorites coming into the playoffs too. So I think that the Nets, if they get the injuries under control, I think they would be a better team than the Clippers last year. And me personally, I was saying that the Clippers was one of the best teams in the world last year that I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean?
Montrezl Harrell, Lou Will off the bench.
They're fun to watch when they play at their best. They're very fun to watch.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
So as it stands right now, just like let's just go through it, all of us. Who do you guys have getting to the finals, and who do you have winning it?
Good question.
I got Brooklyn in 7 against the Suns. Brooklyn in 7.
I'm feeling Nets Clippers. A nice Kawhi KD battle in the finals. And,
Clippers, really?
I see the Nets winning in 6. Okay. They're just too much.
Clippers is a bull take.
Too much. Yeah. I hope there's a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. We haven't had that since Cavs Warriors 2016. So there's definitely some potential in there being a Game 7. So I hope so.
I see Nets coming out of the series, but then Philly taking them down because no one on that team can stop Embiid. Like they're good at Blake Griffin and Claxton, you know, like.
Okay, interesting.
So interesting. I see them making it, and then on the other side, the Suns making it, and the Suns winning in 7.
Sixers Suns. That would be an interesting series.
I'd love to watch that one.
I think Suns Nets would be so crazy because Chris Paul would be versing like DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin. Like that would be so interesting.
Yeah, that is very true. Lob City on opposite sides.
Also, obviously the past couple of weeks, all the awards came out except one. So Rookie of the Year, it's obviously a coin flip between Edwards and LaMelo, but who do you guys think got that?
I think after LaMelo went out, Edwards basically just took the award for himself. LaMelo came back at the end, didn't really do anything crazy. So I think Edwards put up a couple 40-point games. Like I think Edwards got this.
I agree with Cody. I think Edwards has like a motor that we haven't really seen in a minute. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, he has a dunk of the year too. That shit was crazy on the sideline, bro. Man, but I think Edwards got this one. I think if LaMelo Ball would have stayed healthy, LaMelo Ball definitely would have got it.
Yeah,
100%.
Even like Edwards has been like pretty efficient. Like over like towards the beginning of the year, he was like kind of just chucking up shots, but like he started taking smarter shots and like he was playing like legit basketball.
He found himself.
Exactly. What I think is Edwards deserves Rookie of the Year, but LaMelo Ball is going to get Rookie of the Year just because of his name and like how flashy he is and like how his highlights are always being posted. I think he has enough games that he played for the media to vote him in, even though obviously in my eyes also I think Edwards definitely deserves it.
That's interesting. I think that Edwards, like just as you said, he's playing more efficient. If you look at his Georgia days, bro, like he was just taking poor shots. He was just he just didn't care that much. You know what I mean? I think in the league, once he started finding himself, he started, really producing at a high rate. But LaMelo, bro, I think that on their teams, I think Anthony Edwards kind of affects his team more than LaMelo Ball in a sense. But LaMelo Ball, he's amazing, bro. He's amazing. I'm not gonna lie.
The future is bright.
You're saying Edwards affects his team in he does more for his team?
Yeah, he does way more for his team.
Okay.
Way more for his team. Don't get me wrong, LaMelo comes in and play makes, but LaMelo's kind of the young dude on the team. Anthony Edwards came on looking like, yeah, this is my team. You know what I mean? Dropping 40-point games and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather take, as of right now, I'd rather take Anthony Edwards.
And that Wolves team is a team to watch in the future.
That's honestly a coin flip too. Seeing like which one would you rather start a franchise with? Like Edwards gonna be averaging 25 a game.
Right. But LaMelo's going to be averaging triple doubles.
Exactly.
It's going to be fun to watch. Both of their sophomore campaigns are definitely going to be very interesting, very fun to watch.
For sure. But I think that concludes the episode. Another good episode of 94 Feet, man. Thanks for watching. You know, subscribe, hit the like button, and comment below, man.
All that stuff, yeah.
See y'all in episode 3.
Peace.